Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is where we talk games, collect them, and pretend that buying more games is total normal behavior and not a cry for help. Just kidding. So this week, my wallet made a brave sacrifice because Super Rare Games had a sale. And if you know anything about Super Rare, it's that they make amazing indie titles in physical editions. And it also makes me question whether or not I need groceries this week. I picked up 5 games from the recent sale, so let's dive into the haul and explore each of these games a little bit closer. First up, we have Dungeon Defenders Awakened, aka what happens when you mix tower defense, RPG grinding, and absolute chaos. The Switch version still holds up if you're into old school, just one more wave addiction. It's also one of the few games where I've lost around because I spent too long reorganizing turrets like I was playing Tetris Tower. At its core, Dungeon Defenders Awakened is a cooperative action tower defense game with a big focus on loot, leveling, and strategy. You play as one of several heroes, like the Squire, Huntress, Apprentice, or Monk, each with their own unique abilities and defensive structures. The gameplay loop is simple, but addictive. Build your defenses, fight off waves of enemies, collect gear, and upgrade your character. But don't let that simplicity fool you. The latter waves get seriously intense, especially if you're going solo. Now let's talk about the Switch version specifically. Visually, Dungeon Defenders Awakened takes a bit of a hit compared to its PC or console counterparts. Textures are softer, frame rates can dip when the screen gets busy, and loading times are, let's just say, noticeable. That said, it's still totally playable, and honestly, it's kind of impressive to see this level of chaotic action running on the Switch at all. If you value portability and don't mind sacrificing a bit of polish, it's a fair trade-off. Where the game really shines is in co-op. You can team up with up to 3 other players either locally or online, and trust me, playing with friends completely changes the dynamic. You can coordinate builds, specialize your characters, and pull off some of those really satisfying combos. It turns into a real strategy session rather than just button mashing. There's a ton of replay value here too, with multiple difficulty levels, endless loot drops, and a progression system that encourages grinding for better gear. It's one of those just one more round games that can eat up your evening before you realize it. So, is Dungeon Defenders Awakened worth playing on the Switch? If you're a fan of tower defense or action RPGs, and you don't mind a few performance hiccups, then absolutely. It's got charm, it's got challenge, and it's surprisingly deep once you get into it. Next up is going to be Hellpie, which is best described as a 3D platformer that crawled out of a garbage can, lit itself on fire, and asked for a hug. The game is gross, hilarious, and surprisingly tight when it comes to movement and level design. You play as a demon, dragging an angel around on a chain. If that's not enough to sell you, I don't know what will. Hellpie is basically a twisted love letter to the golden era of 3D platformers. Think Banjo-Kazooie meets Conker's Bad Fur Day, but cranked up to 11 on the gross out scale. You play as Nate, the demon of bad taste, who's been tasked with gathering ingredients for Satan's birthday pie. Yep, that's the plot. Your companion? A chained-up angelic cherub named Nugget, who you literally swing around like a grappling hook. It's dark humor, it's grotesque, and it's absolutely leaning into the absurd. Gameplay-wise, it's all about movement. Nate has a really fun momentum-based traversal system. You can double jump, dash, and swing Nugget around across huge gaps or reach secret areas. It feels smooth, and the platforming is honestly more polished than I expected. There's a lot of exploration too. Collectibles, side objectives, and upgrades are tucked away all over the place. If you're a fan of scavenger hunts and platforms, this one's packed with them. The combat, on the other hand, is a bit light. There's some basic attacking, but the game clearly leans more into platforming and puzzle solving than heavy combat encounters. Now, about the Switch version. It runs decently, but it's not perfect. Visually, you can tell the game was scaled down. Some textures are muddy, and there are occasional frame rate drops, especially in larger areas. But gameplay-wise, it's still very playable. Load times are manageable, and controls respond well, which is super important in a platformer. Just don't go in expecting the graphical polish of the PC or other console versions. So is Help High worth playing on the Switch? If you've got a strong stomach for crude humor and you love exploring weird, colorful worlds, this is a solid pick. It's fun in a very what did I just witness kind of way, and under all that filth, a genuinely fun platformer here. If you're tired of cookie cutter games and want something totally off the rails, Help High is definitely a wild ride. Let me know in the comments if you've played it, or if it's too weird for your taste. Then, there's Aerial Knight's Never Yield, a sleek, stylized endless runner with one of the coolest soundtracks I've ever heard. It's like Mirror's Edge went 2.5D, added anime vibes, and said, let's make parkour feel like jazz. Bonus points for the fact that you can look good while failing repeatedly, which I did a lot. Aerial Knight's Never Yield is a 3D side-scrolling runner created by indie developer Neil Jones, aka Aerial Knight. It's set in a futuristic Detroit that has been given a slick, anime-inspired twist, and you play as a Wally, a kid on the run with a mysterious past and a mission to expose the truth. The game mixes constant forward motion with smooth parkour-style action. Your job? Dodge, slide, jump, and vault over obstacles, all while staying in sync with a killer soundtrack. Gameplay is simple but satisfying. You only use one control stick and one button. Each direction performs a different move, up to jump, down to slide, forward to dash, and back to slow down time. It's all about reading the environment and reacting quickly, almost like a rhythm game mixed with Mirror's Edge. Now for the cool part. The levels are choreographed to the beat of the music. If you're paying attention to the rhythm, it actually helps you timing, which makes the game feel like you're dancing through danger. There are 3 difficult levels too, so whether you're here for the story or you want a serious challenge, there's something for everyone. Let's talk style, because Never Yield oozes it. The art is cel-shaded, colorful, and fast-moving with the cinematic camera angles that make each run feel like an action movie sequence. And the soundtrack? Absolute fire. It blends a lot of hip-hop, jazz, and electronic, created by Detroit artist Danime Sama. It's honestly one of the best parts of the experience. On the Switch, the game holds up pretty well. Load times are quick, performances is mostly smooth, and the visuals look crisp in both handheld and docked mode. The game's not super long, you can finish it in about 2 hours, but it encourages replays for better runs, time trials, and high scores. So next, we're spicing things up with a double pack, and that first game is going to be Monster Camp XXL, the Monster Prom sequel where you try to date supernatural weirdos at summer camp. It all stat checks, wild dialogue, and deeply uncomfortable moments where you realize you're trying way too hard to impress a vampire. It's hilarious, unpredictable, and kind of like playing a dating sim written by Twitter users on too much caffeine. Monster Camp XXL is the expanded version of Monster Camp, the standalone sequel to Monster Prom. It's a multiplayer party visual novel hybrid where the goal is simple: survive camp, grow as a person, or at least pretend to, and maybe find a date to the meteor shower party at the end of the week. You'll take on the role of a colorful teen monster, and your choices across the week determine how your relationships and reputation play out. Every playthrough is packed with absurd situations, hilarious writing, and more pop culture references than you can count. Gameplay is turn-based and driven entirely by choices. You pick where to hang out each day, like the lake, the woods, or the campfire, and each spot triggers unique events. You'll make choices that impact your stats, relationships, and outcomes. It's all about reading the situation, playing to your strengths, or just embracing total chaos. The XXL edition includes all DLCs, extra characters, events, and over 13 possible scenarios. That means no 2 runs feel the same. It's got tons of replay value, especially with friends. And speaking of friends, Monster Camp XXL shines in multiplayer. You can play locally or online with up to 4 players, and that's where things get hilariously unpredictable. Whether you're all going after the same love interest or sabotaging each other's stats, it's absolute party game gold. The humor is sharp, self-aware, and proudly unfiltered, so fair warning, it's definitely not for your younger audiences. But if you're into sarcastic writing, wild scenarios, and dating a demon or a werebear, this game gets it. On the Switch, the game runs smooth. Load times are quick, menus are snappy, and the visual style, a mix of colorful cartoon art, bold character designs, they all pop on screen. Whether you're playing handheld or docked, the experience holds up well. Just note, there's a lot of reading, so it might not be everyone's jam if you're here for action-heavy gameplay, but if you're into narrative-driven games and branching dialogue, you're in for a real treat. So Monster Camp XXL on the Switch. It's chaotic, hilarious, and surprisingly heartwarming once you get past the demonic summer hijinks. It's perfect for fans of party games, dating sims, and branching storytelling. And finally, Monster Road Trip XXL, which is like Monster Camp, but instead of camp, you're on a glorious road trip, trying not to run out of gas, food, or your own dignity. The writing, still top tier. The scenarios, absolutely bonkers. And the XXL edition comes with all the bonus content, which means even more ways to fail gloriously. Also, any game that includes murderous hitchhikers as a possible event is an A+ in my book. Monster Road Trip is a standalone entry in the Monster Prom series, but this time, instead of fighting for a prom date, you're on a wild cross-country road trip with your monster crew. Your goal? Make it to one of the several ridiculous final destinations, like a legendary party in the desert, or a literal volcano rave. The XXL version includes all the extra content, new locations, events, characters, and even voice acting. That means more chaos, more choices, and way more ways to completely ruin your trip in the most entertaining way possible. This game flips the dating sim formula on its head. It's more about friendship, vibes, and story-driven chaos than romance. Each day, you choose which location to visit, like a spooky manor, a wacky amusement park, or a roadside dinner run by eldritch horrors. Every stop is packed with random events, stat checks, and tough decisions. Your stats, like hype, magic, stamina, and money, constantly fluctuate based on your choices. If any of them hit 0, your trip ends early. So it's part strategy, part party game, and part let's just see what happens. The writing is as sharp, fast, and ridiculous as ever. Expect tons of pop culture references, fourth wall breaks, and characters that somehow make you laugh and cringe at the same time. The art is bold and expressive, and every character, from the cursed traffic cone to the over-enthusiastic werewolf, has real personality. And now that there's full voice acting, it brings the whole thing to life even more. Shout out to the voice cast. They absolutely nailed it on this one. On the Switch, Monster Road Trip runs super smooth. Load times are fast, UI is clean, and it feels great whether you're playing solo or passing the controller around in multiplayer. It's not a graphically demanding game, but the hand-drawn art really pops on the OLED screen if you've got one. This is 100% one of those games that's perfect for the portable play, or for gathering friends and laughing your way through a completely unhinged road trip. So, Monster Road Trip XXL. It's a hilarious, replayable, and generally clever game that somehow turns a stat-based road trip simulator into one of those most fun party games on the Switch. Whether you're in it for laughs, the storytelling, or the surprisingly deep character moments, there's something here for you and everyone else around you. Now here's the deal. Super Rare Games isn't just some random limited print company. They're one of the few that actually curate the indies they publish. You're not just getting some shovelware with a shiny box. They're hand-picked gems with love and effort put into the packaging, manuals, stickers, and even the trading cards. And let's be honest, owning physical copies of digital-only indies, it's collector's fuel. It's serotonin in cardboard form. It's also a good backup plan for when the eShop decides to ghost us someday. So that's this week's haul. 5 weird, wonderful, and wildly different games, all now proudly sitting on my shelf thanks to Super Rare Games. If you haven't checked them out, do yourself a favor and your wallet a disservice. Hey, if you enjoyed this little journey, hit that like button and subscribe for more game hauls, collection breakdowns, and totally justifiable purchases. Until next time, happy gaming.